Hey everybody, it's Mandy from Chapel Forge. As usual, I had about 2 weeks since my last video because it's just been very chaotic, like being pregnant, raising toddlers, starting this micro bakery, you know, all my normal things. So as I mentioned in our last video, we launched our micro bakery. That has not been without its, I don't want to say struggles, but like, you know, growth challenges. I'm trying to take things down to where we used to live, which is 2 hours south of where we are now, which is great because, you know, we grew up there. So, like, we have a ton of like, loyal, supportive customers there, which is so awesome. So the trickiest part is, like, timing everything. So we're trying to plan, like, when we go down to get Bud or, you know, because we share him with his dad, things like that, that we can coordinate some bread, granola, cookie pickups when we go down, which is great. And we had one very successful one a couple weeks ago when we needed to go down, and we need to go down this Sunday. And I think it's gonna be fine. Unfortunately, I can't offer sourdough this trip because the timing is just not gonna work. I have a midwife appointment and we have a wedding and it's just not gonna work, but it's fine. People have been supportive nonetheless. Sourdough continues to be just always interesting because it's been hot and humid and, you know, rising things and all of that. Like, it's constantly like babysitting temperatures and like all that kind of stuff, which is fine. I would like to start doing pickups here where we are now. We do have a pickup shed that we started at the other house that we'd like to finish rehabbing and then put out here, that I can maybe either just bake stuff randomly that people can stop and pick up, or like, you know, the people that we've made connections with here. We've only been here a little over a year. People we've made connections with here can pick up their orders from the shed or whatever. It's not even a shed, actually. It was like an old outhouse at the other house. It's just super cool, old school, wooden. Zad cleaned it all up. It's on wheels. We just basically need to finish putting the shelves in it. So that's a goal here shortly. Besides the micro bakery, we're 33 weeks pregnant today, which is crazy. You know, I think back to like January when I was like 6 and 7 weeks pregnant, and you're just in the throes of morning sickness and you feel like it's just never going to end. Well, and this time, because we had 2 miscarriages since Zuzu, you know, I was constantly worrying, like, you know, that I was going to start bleeding and blah, blah, blah. And that has waned, obviously. So, and Lord willing, it'll just continue to go really well. Overall, I feel really great. This heat and humidity nonsense, I'm not really... Do you want to say hi to Jamie? This heat and humidity nonsense, it is kind of unbelievable. Now today, I will say, it is 68 real feel today, which is wild. That's like 40 degrees cooler than the real feel has been, which is crazy. We are supposed to get 6+ inches of rain over the next like 24 to 36 hours, which is kind of wild. So we will be keeping an eye on things to make sure, like, you know, nothing is flooding. We're probably going to need to go check on the animals more than once today.
Always flood.
Sometimes we do get water in the garage and stuff. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that. And the pantry does sometimes. So we have, you know, plans in place to, you know, we've dealt with this now for a year. Whenever we get heavy rain, it's not bad. We just have to stay on top of it. So we have that going on. If you missed it way back in the beginning of this pregnancy, I talked about what our plan, I always say plan with caution. And Zuzu says hi. I would say plan with caution is for this birth. So, if you're new, we have 3 kids on earth and 3 kids in heaven. So almost 15, just turned 5, just turned 3. Bud, my oldest, I had very conventional style care and birth. So very conventional with him, conventional prenatal care, conventional hospital birth. I had to get, I didn't know anything back then. I was 21 turning 22, you know, so got Pitocin, was induced at a week late, at 41 weeks, and like failed epidural, and it was fine. Like, I tore and like whatever, but he was fine. He was a big boy, 9'4", and it was all fine. So then with Jameson, which, you know, they're 10 years apart, we had him at home. I had pups with him, which is basically, it's a rash you can get during pregnancy, and it's kind of like having like poison ivy over your entire body. It was awful. I had that for like all of the third trimester and some of the second. So that was terrible. So we had him at home, had the pool set up in the living room, that whole thing. And home birth was an amazing experience. He was very tiny. He was 6 pounds. I basically feel like I sneezed and he came out, especially compared to Bud, because Bud had a gigantic head. So then with Zuzu, we were planning on a home birth, and I got to almost 42 weeks and there was just no progression. Like, good heartbeat, everything was good, but just no progression whatsoever. And we decided we were going to transfer. So we went to the hospital. The hospital that we went to serves a lot of Amish and Mennonite. And so I really didn't get pushback with anything. Now when I went in, I was like, I'm not getting an epidural, and I'm not this, and I'm not that, and whatever. Well, we had to do Pitocin because nothing was moving. Like, I had done all the things, red raspberry tea and like sex and walking and blah, 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 whatever. Like, we did all those things and nothing. There was just no activity. So anyway, got the Pitocin. I had to do 2 rounds of Pitocin. The first one did absolutely nothing. So we stopped that. My midwife, I was on the phone with her, and she's like, eat something that if you throw it up, it's not going to hurt. So, like, no spaghetti, So I don't remember what I ate, but it was something bland. Probably a turkey sandwich or something. And so we had her in there. I did get an epidural, and it was honestly like the best decision ever because she was almost 10 pounds. She was sunny side up, so my back labor was like nothing I had ever experienced. I was projectile vomiting across the hospital room. Zad's like catching it in the bag, So that was, oh man. But it was good. It was a good experience. And so we've decided, even though we're 2 hours from that hospital now, that we are going to deliver there. So our plan is that either my parents or Zad's parents or something can come be with the kids, take care of the animals while we're gone for a couple days. I've never gone into labor on my own. I've always needed some assistance. So we'll see how it goes. That's the plan. And that's what's happening with that. So this pregnancy has been really good. I have definitely not been as active as I was prior to pregnancy because it's been so stinking hot. So I've been trying to get walks in on the treadmill when I can, or just, it's not like I'm sitting around all day. I'm like baking and chasing toddlers and doing all those things. I'm just not getting in my like typical 3-mile walk that I was doing prior to pregnancy. And not lifting as much and things like that. So, that'll be something I'm going to have to slowly work back into once we have this baby. As far as other things happening around here, we have some new baby piglets, which is really fun. We got 2 baby boy goats out of this season, and we should have 1 more that's going to birth here soon. Our boy is definitely in rut. He's stinky. So I imagine that we will start, especially my dairy goat for sure. She'll probably get pregnant here once it gets a little colder, I'm hoping, because she's the one that I milk to make soap. And then we're going to have some goats that we're going to need to butcher because obviously I don't need several boys. So we'll raise them to butcher weight and get those in the freezer. We've restocked on pig and steer. So the freezers are fully stocked as that goes. So this preservation season has been kind of interesting for me. I preserved a ton last year. Like, I'm talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jars. And our shelves were bursting. So there's a lot of things I really didn't need to do this year. So my preservation goals this year, and I feel so off because I normally participate in the Every Bit Counts challenge. And I'm not because, we're getting the micro bakery off the ground. I just don't need a ton of things on the shelf at the moment. So we have 4 bushels of peaches that we're going to get on the shelf because we are totally out of peaches. We're pretty close to out of applesauce. So we're going to need to do that babies due the end of September. So I'm hoping we can get applesauce done either mid-September or early October. We're going to do pickles. Hopefully I'm going to try to grab some cucumbers yet and get some pickles done because we are pretty much out of pickles. The last time I did pickles was in 2020, which is wild. Like, they lasted that long. Now, I did wind up freeze drying some of them because they were just a little bit too soft, but like the relish and stuff is great. Other than that, I did, and I can link this video, I did 700 pounds of fruit, cherries. So I canned cherries, blueberries, strawberries, and then froze rhubarb. And then I did freeze some of that too. So 700 pounds of berries were put away, basically. And other than that, we just don't need a ton. So I did put in an order with our local farmer to get 150 pounds of onions and 200 pounds So about 200 pounds of potatoes. Those are just going to go into dry storage. I'm not going to do, I might do some French onion soup. I might do some dry canned potatoes. They are so handy and we are completely out of those. But I don't have to do anything with those right away. Like I can just work on that like this fall, this winter, or whatever. Once we're like settled from postpartum and that kind of stuff. That's pretty much what we're doing. As far as my dry goods go, I did a pretty big haul from the restaurant store couple months ago. So, you know, it's flour, rice, beans, split peas, noodles, things like that. All those things that we typically always have in stock. Pretty well stocked at this point. Going into these next several months, you know, we have a few other things we're going to try to get done. We'd like to get our fuel tanks done so that we can keep, it's going to be cheaper for us to keep the diesel on hand than it is for us to continue buying it at the gas station. Now, diesel is going down, which is very exciting. So we have that in the pipeline. We'd like to get the garden in, like, so it'll be in and ready to plant in early spring. So that's another goal that we have on the list. Zad got my bread slicer. So we bought an Oliver bread slicer, like it's a commercial restaurant style bread slicer. It needed love. So Zad, got it all fixed up, put new blades in it, cleaned it all up, and it works beautifully. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I wasn't sure if people were going to be interested in sliced bread, but I kind of like took a poll on Facebook, and a lot of people. So this is the one that we cut for ourselves this morning, and it cuts just these perfect, I think it's 3/8 inch slices. And oh my gosh, that bread smells so good. I did a bunch of like flavored yeast bread since I can't offer sourdough this time. Anyway, so we got the bread slicer up and going. People are all about it. It's been really awesome. So as far as winter preps go, we are also hatching out chicks, continuing to hatch out chicks, trying to get next year's flock up to like, I'd like to have 60 maybe, somewhere in that ballpark. So we are hatching out chicks. So working on building up that flock because I'll have some girls next year that are over 2 years old. So I want to make sure that I have everybody in place for the next laying flock. We should hopefully be having some baby rabbits here soon so we can start getting those butchered, get those in the freezer. Zad would like to work with their pelts, whatever, their fur. He'd like to work with that. So we have that. Other than that, I'm starting to think about like Christmas scents and things for soap. I'm going to have pumpkin spice sourdough and probably pumpkin spice yeast bread. Why not? I'm sure people will love it. We'll have pumpkin spice goat milk soap that'll be coming for fall. I think that's all I'm going to do for fall. I don't want to commit to a bunch of things because, you know, baby's due the end of September and, you know, we'll put that out there, and I put on my menu that this will be baby permitting, that we can offer this. So we have that going on for fall, and then I can't even believe like we're already thinking about Christmas and Christmas scents and flavors and all that kind of stuff. I also am working on selling jams and jellies. So we'll be getting those tested so that we can sell those under our limited food establishment or whatever. So we'll have that coming down the pike. I'd love to get that done here in the next, if I can get it done in the next month or so, get those tested and get all that stuff approved so that we can offer like cute little jam arrangements for Christmas and all of that. So that is what we have going on here. I can't, you know, I feel like sometimes I am admittedly somewhat inconsistent on YouTube. Like sometimes I have a video every day and then sometimes it's like every other week, and it really kind of just ebbs and flows with the seasons of life. I mean, that's just how it goes. I'm not just doing YouTube. You know, we are selling soap and fire pokers and now have the micro bakery, and Bud's got his business, and we have 3, almost 4 kids. So, you know, and animals to care for. And so I'm like not making excuses, just you'll see me when you see me, I guess. So well, I will keep you posted. We will hopefully see baby here in the next 7 to 9 weeks, since I've never ever had a baby on time or early. I always use that word so cautiously. So if you have questions about anything, you want to see any of our menus or whatever, let me know. We'll see you guys next time.